Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. And there's been lots and lots of action, lots and lots of pain. And you, of course, know what I'm talking about if you're an Arsenal fan. And if you're hurting like me, smash up the likes. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Get that notification bell on. Arsenal have been absolutely massacred, absolutely destroyed by the clear best team in the league, best team on the planet, if you ask me. And well, I'm sure we'll get into everything about exactly what happened, but at the end of the day, it's champions showing why they're champions.
Right.
Just better in every aspect for the entire game. And it's upsetting and disappointing.
I'm gonna let Lewis start, but the caveat that I wanted to put in is just Pep Guardiola tactics, man. Like we said it in our group chat. We kind of gave him his respect. Pep came out with an execution style game plan, and they did not deviate at all.
You remember what I said about what it takes to win the title, about what it takes to be the best? Those three things, that suffocating press, that lethality, and being able to hold the ball, all on display, all
Yep.
on absolute display.
Uh,
Arsenal have not had someone in their face for 97 minutes like that all season long.
it wasn't even the last time you played them. They played you a
Yeah,
little bit with a little bit more
you're right.
intensity on that end. Like it really felt like two different cities that you guys played. Almost like the first one was a bait. Almost like the first one was, hey, this is how City's going to play Arsenal. And no, no, it wasn't.
Well, Lewis, I'm sure you'll agree that those two teams are different teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is just watching the game, and I mean, you guys know my personality. I'm a pretty mellow guy. I stay even keel, so I was never gonna be rah rah. Anyways, today.
You're one of the most humble
Yeah,
fans.
not me.
One of the most humble fans.
But part of the reason is, and I'm being honest, I see the commentary and there's people talking about, well, if Arsenal, don't win anything, their season's a failure. And it all happens the same week that don't know how many people watch basketball, where Giannis Antetokounmpo said, did I fail? No. I mean, did I achieve the goal I wanted? No. But look where I am. And so I look at it, and we live in such a it's all or nothing world. And so I look at Arsenal, and I have a ton of respect for them because a lot of those guys grew up in that game, man. And I don't mean the City guys. I mean the Arsenal guys grew up in that game, and they needed that. I mean the manager grew up because I think you talked about it a little bit before. There was a degree of arrogance that Arteta kind of functioned with, where he wouldn't play certain players or he wouldn't rotate, and you saw a lot of guys get game time that was necessary. I mean, obviously, sort of looking at when they came in, but it was just to try to give these guys a chance to say, hey, see what you can do. And so looking at that, I mean, I think I said in the chat before that this City team would wipe the floor with the previous ones because they just weren't in form. They looked out of form. Holland was out of form. De Bruyne was kind of just moping around the field.
They hadn't done this yet as the team.
Yeah, they
They
haven't.
really just hadn't gelled. Like you had great players who had played together for seasons, but there were some new guys in there like Grealish and Holland and people vying for spots and Foden getting hurt, coming in and off. Like there wasn't that consistent, like, hey, we are the glue. It wasn't there. Like that's the problem with our squad. But Man City, I think you're exactly right. We're starting to see them really buy into this
With a
system
17
that
unbeaten.
yeah, the system that's really been set before them and how they're all supposed to play together. And now they are firing on every single cylinder.
But and even to add to that, one of the things that they really recognize, and I mean, I know you guys. I sent you guys that text where, or the picture where people were like getting because Jack Grealish shared something in the story while he's in the physio, and on the wall it said, our goal, the Champions League, and there's like, oh, they're going to use that as fodder for Real Madrid. Name a team in the competition who their goal is not to win the competition. Like, what are you
Right.
talking about? They didn't just make that for them.
No,
And
it's the most prestigious cup other than your domestic league. And I would even say more so than other domestic leagues. I mean, I know we are biased for the Prem, But if PSG wins
Up
the
there.
Champions League, it's a little sweeter than winning League One. If
Right.
Bayern win the Champions League, other than Borussia giving them a run for their money this year, it's a little sweeter than winning the German league. I just see it. That's just how I see it. But you're right. Like, what team that isn't in that tournament wants to not take that trophy home? Sporting, Jose Mourinho took
Spurs.
Spurs. They need a trophy.
No, they don't want to win.
But
No,
it was
they don't want to win.
because on that
That's not
same
on their
pillar,
wall.
on that same pillar, they had the Premier League title, but everybody wanted to find some fodder. I'm like, it's a
No.
four-sided pillar, which means all four trophies were on there,
Yeah.
and it's the
FA
physio
Cup,
room.
yeah.
I mean, what do you expect in the physio room? Hey, man, you're hurt. Sorry. Like, you supposed to be depressed in the physio? Like, it sounds stupid. So they're looking for anything, but it just couples with the whole idea that I'm looking at this season still humbly because nothing has been accomplished yet. You still got to win the games. You still got to play. Okay, sure, teams are going to play you a little more afraid league side because they're like, oh, we have to sit back and we're looking at
Fulham
10
did
in the box or whatever, and that's fine with the exception of maybe one or two teams that they're
play
going to,
like that.
huh?
The very next game, Fulham didn't play like that. They weren't afraid.
Well, but I mean, in essence of when you start getting because okay, there's one other, I think one other, now outside of Chelsea, there's one other like above mid table team
Still
that
play
Man
Brighton.
City will play, and they're gonna play serious, but the bottom ones are just gonna sit and defend,
Yeah.
and so you're like you still got to win those because those games are harder to win than a team coming at you, and so there's that. Plus, there's just this Real Madrid. If you don't have confidence going into that, and Madrid is off a little bit, but an off Madrid still wins the Champions Leagues. And
You're talking
so
about the second, like, if you're ranking these squads, not Pep's probably the best in the world right now. I don't think I don't think anybody's probably gonna dispute that. You're going up against the second best with Carlo Ancelotti and a Madrid team that can be pieced together to, any their bench players will start on any given squad.
he's won what? Carlos won what? 4 Champions Leagues, right? 3 or 4. But I think he's won them in one in each league or something
One
like
in each, yeah, one in
it's
Italy,
something
one in
insane.
Spain.
The guy is the most relaxed dude ever.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, there's no. Yeah. But no, like you said, if you don't take them serious, and yes, they are off. They don't. But I think that's Madrid's play. Like,
That's
oh,
what
we're off, and then they show up and then just
Chelsea. Just lose to
4-0.
Girona and then
Yeah.
beat everyone in the
and then
Champions.
smash everyone in the. It's the Real Madrid Invitational, like, for a
It's
reason.
because that's the only one they really care about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they might care about the league, they might care about Copa del Rey, but look at their trophy room. It's all. It's
You're
all.
You're
No, it's more than that.
No, I meant like in recent, like.
Oh yeah, I
that
mean,
team's won like 4 or 5 together.
They won 5.
Yeah,
It's insane.
Modric has 5 at Real. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's insane, man.
That's
So
stupid.
yeah, you got to take it seriously. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
how much gloating is there? Oh, we won this game. Still got to play Real Madrid. Still got a bunch of games every 3 days. There's nothing to celebrate yet because an injury could shut the whole thing down. De Bruyne was sick and he wasn't in training today, so he hasn't played. So you see what the team looks like without him, which goes to my Kevin De Bruyne for Ballon d'Or official now. I'm officially on it now. Before I was like kind of on it. Now I'm officially on it.
You got my
They're
signature.
supposed to do. I'm on it.
yeah.
I'd rather De Bruyne win it than Haaland.
Well, I'm not really on it either or. It's just Holland can't do what he does without him.
Without, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as far as this game goes, I feel like we have been good by overloading the midfield, right? And Pep obviously knows this, and so what we needed to do, he cut it off at the source, right? They made Partey look terrible. Look, this is possibly his worst game of the season.
He looked mentally gone.
It was bad. It's bad. Like, there was a couple of runs where they got by him in the midfield, Like for example, on the first goal, just route one into Holland, and of course he wins the battle. Of course he wins the battle, but how are you a yard behind De Bruyne for the second ball? And then you're not even like you got to be giving your firstborn child to get back there. It just didn't. Yeah, he just kind of looked off it, and of course De Bruyne doing De Bruyne things. Notices it's the footballing intelligence, man. He knows
Yep.
he saw that Gabrielle was turned awkwardly, right? And so one touch and he's just by him, and Gabrielle's spinning circles. And then, I mean,
Washing machine.
what a hell of a finish that one was. Just, you know. Um, and then we've not faced up to not being able to play through the press.
Mm.
What's happened? What happened? Ever since Liverpool destroyed our press in the latter stages of that game, West Ham did the same. Southampton did the same. We just haven't been able to. That was what we were so good at all season long, and no one presses like City does. And I mean, they pressed more than they pressed against Bayern
Yes, they did.
this game, and it wasn't even. It's hard to even analyze Arsenal in this game because we didn't do anything.
Right.
We never had the ball. We never did anything because we couldn't string passes together. The first goal wasn't a mistake by us. That was just brilliance by you guys. The second goal wasn't either. I mean, the third and fourth goal were not. It was only so the only blatant mistake was for the third goal. The other three goals, y'all are just better. Holland is just bigger, and his hair got in Holding's eyes. When he's let his hair down. But yeah, some poor performances all over the place. And it's tough to say that like the forward line didn't do anything. I mean, they didn't do anything, but there was no service. They never had the ball. And anytime Martinelli or Saka got the ball, um, it was Grealish and who was the other winger? Was it Mahrez that started?
No, Silver started.
Silva, yeah. So anytime our wingers got the ball, Grealish and Silva were immediately there for the double. Immediately there for the double team. There was no space, no time to breathe, and
There was,
therefore,
there was a degree of respect. They really showed a ton of respect to Saka because Akanji was in his like he was on top of him the whole game, and anytime he got the ball, there was somebody else there, and it was. I mean, but again, this is goes to my point that they grew up because they got to see a team take them really seriously.
yeah,
And I mean, the thing about it is that you can see they have quality. I mean, obviously, the goal they scored. I mean, they scored and they did it and earned that. So you look at it and you say,
yeah. But City always give a goal.
yeah, but not, but the goals they give, like I mean, I know we're
Some
not
of them are
jumping
really
ahead,
dumb.
but like
Some of them are really dumb.
who they played Fulham? Was it Fulham?
Ederson got cursed out.
No,
Yeah.
Fulham's goal was
That,
good.
that, that was a good
Goal
goal.
was really good. Yeah.
That was a good goal, man. I mean, so you look at it and you say, well, do they give dumb goals? Yeah. But sometimes the goals that they give up, you're like, all right, you got to give them that one. And you just kind of let it go. But I mean, they were intense. It looked like they took the game seriously the whole time. And they're almost fully clicking. Because the funny thing about it is that, and I know I'm going to sound weird for saying
What
this, like,
part of that is almost?
well, because like now, if you think about it, Foden is the team's top scorer, and he's been out for most of the year, and he's just coming back to form. If he gets back and he gets back into form, because Holland and Foden have like this natural thing early in the season, and if he can get back, then then they're a machine.
Just even better. Like I mean, let's make the best better. Okay, yeah.
But they have to be that. I'm taking this whole thing seriously, man. They have to be that good to beat Real Madrid at least once to a level where they can advance. And then I'm not overlooking either one of the Milan teams because it's a one game. It's one game.
Yep.
A final is one game.
And if y'all play Milan, Olivier Giroud loves to show up in one game.
Oh, he does show up. Any thoughts on this particular game, Patrick?
I mean, I thought unfortunately it went exactly how most of us expected it to. It was still fun to watch. I will say that. Moments of brilliance by Kevin De Bruyne was just. I mean, that first goal was like. Part of me is like, why didn't Holding? I mean, not Holding. Ramsdale save it, but then I went back and watched it. And I'm like, it's just that great of a goal.
Physics.
He couldn't save it.
Physics.
I mean,
Physics.
Yeah.
Off in that moment.
I mean, it's just that great of a goal. I mean, because you see, it's near post on him, but yet, well, maybe it would have been far post. I guess I don't know, but just watching it, I was, when I first saw it, I was like, he should have gotten a hand on that. But then you go back and watch it, and you're like, nah, that was just an incredible goal. I did find it interesting that City really came out and said, all right, we're going to bully you up front again. We're going to launch balls to Holland. And instead of him taking them down and turning and running, he's just going to, tap it over to probably the best 10 in the world right now, and let him finish. And that partnership with De Bruyne and Holland's just ridiculous. And I think that was missing earlier in the year. I felt like there's maybe some, not animosity or anything. There was no chemistry there. Now it's there, and they're dangerous, absolutely dangerous. Like I know Chelsea's got to play them in the near future, and I'm just like, golly, they're going to put up like 6 by themselves.
De Bruyne is too smart to not figure it out, right? He's just too smart of a footballer to not figure that out,
Yeah.
She could